Now, Home Affairs officials are in Ntuzuma, Durban, where they are reissuing important documents lost or damaged in the flood. Lethiwe Mdluli is tracking the story for us. Now, earlier, Lethiwe was listening in on the update by eThekwini Mayor Ntuzuma on the flood's impact on business in the metro. Let's speak to Lethiwe now, who joins us. Good morning, Lethiwe. Perhaps we can start with Mayor Kaunda's briefing. What were the key take-homes from that address this morning?
Well, Mfundo, the mayor did say that Durban is open for business, but of course a lot of businesses were affected by the floods. And what most businesses have told eThekwini municipality and officials is that it's going to take them about 3 months to rebuild. But what they do need right now are essential services such as water and electricity. You'd remember that a lot of areas were affected by this, and still a lot of communities are without water. So what we did take away is that millions of course are needed to repair those businesses that were affected. But at the moment we are actually in Ntuzuma, where the Department of Home Affairs is currently assisting those that were also affected by the floods with important documentation such as IDs and certificates. We are actually in Ntuzuma Library, and this is where most of the flood victims that were affected last week are housed. As you can see, there are blankets that have been provided to these residents, and also they are basically in one area where it's safe for them for now. We are of course joining the Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, Ms. Ntuzuma, who is going to be speaking to us shortly. But I also want to speak to a few residents here, Mfundo, and find out how they are dealing with being housed here and how everything has been for them so far since the floods. I'm just going to try and speak to Uma. Ma, sabona njani?
Yeah.
Ngicela ukubuza ma, njengoba nilana nje, kwenzakalani on Tuesday ngalesi sikhathi kukhona ama floods?
Impi yaqala ebusuku ngane ngosukela ko10 kuya ku11 12. Ngamukelwa umuzi wonke, angiphumanga ngisho. Phume ngenaddress. Futhi angiphumanga eminyango. Yayisidilikile ngame ngathi ngiyathela pheko sofa ngawa lokhu kwangaphandle, lokhu angezansi kwangaphandle ngahoshwa umzukulu. Angiphumanga na-dress kuphela kwalokhu ngikuthole sengila ngihamba buze ngani ngafika ekhanseleni ngihamba buze futhi ngilimele la athatha imoto ekhansela yangisa ekliniki ngafika ekliniki bangiklinika namanje kubuhlungu sekubuye kwafika ezinye imoto la ngathola amaphilisi inhliziyo yami angizazi noma liyashonila noma liyaphuma anginalutho emarumini amathi akukho angiphuma impahla angisenandaba nempahla kodwa nje hawu uNkulunkulu wami ishinto zami zesonto kazi ngithenga kanzibizana kangaka ngiphume.
Ngiyabona manje nihleli la ehholo, ngitshele nje ukuthi nihleli kanjani nanokuthi ke ninabantu nje nidingani ku government.
Wengane ngesingami ngihleli kahle mina ngesingami ngihleli kahle ngoba ngiyakuthola ngihleli kahle ngoba ngiyakuthola ukudla sonke ngizothi sihleli kahle mina anginamuza anginalutho cha ukudla kuyangena ngani namanje sengilidlile nje phakathi ngoba ngumuntu wamaphilisi anginalutho makuthiwa ngaphandle wengane mawusungithatha uthi angihambe ngokhomba kangizokhomba kanjani ngoba kuyiziwa angina kunje kugobhoza umfula lapho bengakhe khona angiphumanga nathi ngiphume nokugula nezingane ezincane ke zaphuma ke bayihoshoni nabazi angiphumanga nalutho inhliziyo yami ibhlungu futhi ngikhetha ukuthi uNkulunkulu angiphe ukuba ilandele kabusha nje esontweni ngoba ngibonga ukusinda kodwa umoya wona unjani kahlazekile.
Ma khona no Department of Home Affairs namhlanje uzonisiza ngokuthi anikeze ama ID.
Sengiyakhona kuthiwa kuyonga lapho selibiziwe igama lami angina lutho isikhathi lohola likho ngizodlani ngoba mina engondla umndeni ngilahlekelwe nomshini wengane into ebingiphilisa uzama ntombi yabona enhlobo endala isinga Angizama ngayo ngani ungikhulumele.
Ne-grant masho ukuthi njengoba ungenalo ikhadi lokhola uzowudinga udepartment lo onisizayo ngama-grant ukuthi ufike.
Ngenze njani manje ngisazwa ke ntombi?
Ngibuza ukuthi usefikile udepartment lo usiza ngamakhadi ama-grants ezonisiza ngokuthi anitholele amakhadi.
Angithi bona laba angiboni phana kahle mina efaka iboku selibiziwe kodwa igama lami ngithi ushipasi lele fushanyana lahamba lona lele lide la sizobalala iseduze ekulona ngithi ngilona icisho engalifela anginalo angazizochaza ngithini kodwa wengane ongizama ngemkhakha umshini isinga hayi le esebenzisa ugesi.
Ngiyabonga ma. Ngiyabonga.
Ngiyabonga ngani mhlambe ngizothola ukusizakala kangazi.
Fundo, these are some of the residents that I'm speaking to that have been affected by the floods. What Uma is saying is that she lost everything during the rainy day on Tuesday. And unfortunately, she couldn't save none of her items, especially her grant card. That's what she's crying about mostly because that's the only money that she receives. And she is saying that she is happy that the Department of Home Affairs is currently here, which means they can help her with getting her ID book, and maybe she can then reapply to get that grant. She is also saying that currently they are being housed here, even though it is a safe shelter. She is currently begging the government to provide safe housing for them. There's a lot of residents that I want to speak to today. All of them have been affected. They're very emotional. Uma is still crying about her grant card and also just getting that assistance that is much needed.
No, she's visibly emotional and understandably so, Lethiwe. I mean, she's lost everything, and I suppose that is the story of many housed there, but very proactive of the Department of Home Affairs to be there to at least assist them to get their ID documents. Thank you very much. That's our reporter, Lethiwe Mdluli, who's out in Ntuzuma, just trailing Home Affairs officials that are there to issue out ID documents. Now, more news.